Support comes from Gemma, architects, planners, and designers seeking to bring joy to their clients and communities. Details at gemastl.com.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. This Friday marks Independence Day, a holiday commemorating the adoption of the Declaration of Independence, which many celebrate with outdoor grilling. And what's on those grills? Lots and lots of hot dogs. In fact, folks across the U.S. eat an estimated 150 million hot dogs every July 4th, according to a trade association that promotes the hot dog industry. Cities have their own versions of the dish. There's the well-known Chicago dog with its poppy seed bun, green relish, peppers, and celery salt. New York, Seattle, and Kansas City each have their own signature styles. Our producer Emily Woodbury has a story of a St. Louis restaurateur who's seeking to put St. Louis on the hot dog map.
Steve Ewing opened his first hot dog stand in 2008. From time to time, he'd wonder why St. Louis didn't have its own hot dog, like the Chicago-style dog, except without the judgment towards people's condiment choices.
This is St. Louis. You can put ketchup on a hot dog. You can put ketchup, barbecue sauce, you can put all kinds of stuff on a hot dog. Chicago.
Steve's Hot Dogs became a brick-and-mortar shop in the Hill in 2011. It later moved to a spot in Tower Grove East next to TikTok Tavern, and after closing briefly in 2020, an angel investor gave the restaurant new life in addition to an outpouring of community support. Steve's Hot Dogs now has a location on Grand Boulevard in Tower Grove East and on Delmar in the Central West End. And 3 years ago, it became home to the first officially designated St. Louis hot dog.
It's our smoked hot dog with provolone lined in our fresh Italian roll. It's grilled bell peppers, grilled onions, bacon, and a smoky pepper mustard.
For years, the hot dog was known as the Hiya dog, a reference to a catchphrase Steve uses when he performs with his band. But that changed in 2022 when the restaurant created a March Madness-style bracket and asked St. Louisans to choose the hot dog that best represented their city.
And it was like 6 dogs over 4 weeks or something like that, however, whatever. But the city chose it. The people chose the dog, so.
The Hiya won. It was even recognized by the city itself with a resolution from the Board of Aldermen declaring Steve's recipe the official hot dog of St. Louis. 3 years ago, our team took a field trip to Steve's Hot Dogs for a taste test and to talk with Steve about his hopes for the creation. We stepped off Grand Boulevard into the shop with its red-painted tin ceiling and checkered floors. We met Steve at a table in the back of the restaurant. Steve told us that his main chef, Joe Zeeble, drew inspiration for the St. Louis hot dog from Italian cuisine on the Hill.
Being on the Hill, we're like, well, we're on the Hill, so we have all these amazing ingredients that we can get. He came up with the idea of putting the provolone in the bun. I'm like, yes. So the cheese in the bun, our smoked dog, and it's like grilled onions, grilled bell peppers, the banana peppers, because that's what's on a lot of sandwiches, especially on the Hill. So I think his mind was kind of on that St. Louis / Hill Italian kind of thing, and I let him go with it, and he came up with it, and it's evolved over the years. It started with the brown mustard, and we ended with our smoky pepper mustard, which is awesome.
St. Louis on the Air executive producer Alex Hoyer described the St. Louis hot dog as delicious, despite being a bit difficult to eat.
It's very messy. I can understand why it's served with a fork and a knife. I think I'll have to use that, but visually, this is a pretty hot dog. It's the prettiest hot dog I've ever seen. I mean, the banana peppers on top, the bacon, the bell peppers, the onion. It's just a pretty hot dog. The taste of it is unique. I've never had a hot dog like this before. And the first taste that I get is that smoky flavor, but I also get that tanginess of the banana peppers. and then the smoothness that the grilled onions add, and then that provolone cheese also adds something to it as well. So overall, I'll give this hot dog an A.
While the St. Louis hot dog is good for business, Steve said his goal is for the hot dog to gain recognition outside of the gateway city.
So that's going to take us kind of getting out and really promoting that. And when we do our events, like bringing that dog to people and say, this is the official hot dog of St. Louis. That's what I want to see. I want to be like, give me a St. Louis style hot dog, you know.
As you plan your 4th of July spread, consider sporting your St. Louis pride with some St. Louis hot dog fixings. Just don't forget to pack some forks and napkins.
This episode was produced and engineered by Emily Woodbury.
Podcast design by Aaron Dorr.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations. And leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thanks.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
The Gateway brings you the day's news each weekday from around the St. Louis region and the state capitals in Jefferson City.
Our schools are accredited. We don't need this bill.
And Springfield.
How many more years must pass before lawmakers see time is of the essence?
I'm Abby Larico. Join me each weekday for The Gateway on the STLPR app or wherever you get podcasts.